I said old school, like I've been using StreamYards for a couple weeks, and I'm acting like I've been doing it for forever. Um, yeah. So, all right. Let's get into it. Let's do our intros, right? Let's have some manners. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Y'all know super chats will be read out loud. We're gonna be a little bit mellow today. We're not gonna come in with the fire and brimstone necessarily. Because we're speaking about return on investment when it comes to men, black men in specific, but Western men, American men, time, their energy, their manhood or their concept of manhood, their masculinity, their concept of masculinity, and what this society, this economy, this political structure, the women are willing to do for these men's concept of return on investment. What is my return on investing my time and energy, my life, my taxes in propping up this current system? And until you can give the men at least a portion, and let's first address something before I continue. This video is a response to many videos I've been watching over the past few days. Everything from Obsidian, right, to BGS, to Real Yanny, Peter Zillin, so white and black, things that don't have anything to do with the overall topic at hand today. Sarge Willie Pete, Destiny. We are responding to a bunch of different videos, YouTube videos, and simply asking, what are you going to reward the men with? What is the incentive, right? Oh, also Dr. Umar being on the panel with the young man and young woman. This is a response to that also. And once again, what are you going to reward the young men and the young women with when it comes to excuse me, I said the young men and the young women. The young men with when it comes to them investing their time, their energy, their manhood, right? And if Destiny and Dr. Umar Johnson and Real Talk with Yanni are to be heard correctly, nothing. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. Beginning, end. It doesn't matter if you want, and rest in peace, St. Kevin, it doesn't matter if you want cheese pizza. We got tacos. We got burgers. We have chicken sandwiches. We have hot dogs. We have sausages, right? We have tofu, right? We have everything but pizza. We don't even got a calzone for you. We don't even have Italian food here. We have everything but pizza, right? And so the question is, what is this society, this political structure, this economic structure, the women, etc., offering men, working class men? We're not speaking about the elite men. We see what they're running out the running out the back door with the women, the money, the fame, the prestige. We see what the elite men are gaining, right? We see what all of these people are gaining. We see the elites. What we're saying is working class, normal, everyday, 9 to 5, between $35,000 and $70,000 a year men, which is where most men sit, somewhere in that really 30, but okay, $35,000 to $70,000 a year men. Clearly the shame isn't working. Clearly the appeal to morality isn't working. Clearly the appeal to humanity isn't working, because all of that is tinged with some insult and some, you know, really insult. I think that's the best word actually to use for it. But badgering, really all of that talk, all of that is lined with some insults. So what are we? Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. What are we doing and giving and applauding your 9-to-5 man with? For those of us a little bit older, we remember in the 90s when it was you doing it because it's what you're supposed to do. And right, you even had other men saying, "Nah, he's supposed to do that. He doesn't. You don't compliment him for that. You don't approve. You know that's what you're supposed to do." I was a child and I remember that vividly. No, you're doing it because you're supposed to do that, right? And like, okay, fine. Men my age heard that, and you know what we did? Nothing. Oh, so I'm just gonna work to the bone like my father, and my girlfriend, my wife, the women in my life are just gonna look at me like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You don't get a compliment for doing what you're supposed to do. Once again, what is the return on investment for men? For working class 9-to-5 men, the same ones that the women in the elite have contempt for, the same ones that the elite want to pay peanuts to and compliment with, yeah, he works hard, beginning end. You work hard because you just like working hard, right? Second Thoughts has a clip. For those of you that don't know, Second Thoughts is like a Marxist, communist creator on YouTube, and he has a clip of a politician. I want to say, yeah, I want to say it was Matt Gaetz, but I glanced at the screen when it was playing. But he's at this, you know, rally, obviously mainly of white people, saying, yeah, this is, you know, work hard you, and these people work, they just get a great sense of feeling just from working hard, and they work hard just to work hard. And like, yeah, no, they work hard for a paycheck, right? Like you just get a great sense of feeling from just working hard, doing something you absolutely detest, or at best you're marginal on, but you love doing it because you love working hard. No. Right? And so the argument coming from Dr. Umar Johnson, once again, was the upper middle class guys that run away into the burbs with their families, even if they have a black wife and black children. They run away instead of and essentially, in so many words, he called these men cowards, because it's not up to the women to protect the community. It's up to these men, and these men grab their resources once they have enough and run for the hills. And once again, you know, there's brothers that jumped on Obsidian's panel that I disagree with in comments that were made, but the overall sentiment is, stay in the hood for what? Stay in the hood for what? And that's a real question for Dr. Umar Johnson, for the single men, and even for the men in relationships. Stay in the hood for what? For, and you know, I'm not going to go into the stereotypes because the brothers hit all the stereotypes. I'm very careful with this type of thing. But stay in the hood for what, when we know what can happen to me and my family in the hood with other black people who do not appreciate me. Okay, cool. Their mothers do not appreciate men like me. They raise their sons to not appreciate what I'm doing, if I'm tutoring, if I'm just surveilling the streets, like you said you did, Obsidian. You know, Dr. Umar pretends like people do things just to do it because it's the right thing to do. And the shaming language, right, is fascinating. But okay, that's for the men in relationships. For the single men who, once they get to $75,000 a year, 70 grand a year, and they can comfortably move out the hood, move into a nice apartment on the other side of town, and bring the women that they want to see to them. If they can even do that, that's where I'm going right now. Why would they stay in the hood? Why would they stay in the hood for a bunch of women with children and without, who look down on them, who don't appreciate them? Once again, the return on investment. I won't even get a pat on the head. So, I was speaking to a friend about this yesterday, and we were speaking about how much black men in particular are willing to invest back in the black community, knowing, especially for the first generation, that they're not going to get their return on investment, and that's okay. And I was like, I think black men are even willing to put in the energy and the time, knowing they'll barely get a third of their investment. Believe it or not, I think black men are willing to invest knowing they'll barely get a third. Some brothers are willing to invest knowing they won't even get a quarter. We understand the lift that we are tasked with, but when you say, oh, you're just gonna do this for free, or you're gonna do this and not even get a tenth of your return on investment in energy and time and money. As a matter of fact, you're gonna be given a quick, swift kick up the rear end for your investment. You're gonna actually have other men have contempt for you, but men understand competition. We understand, cool. And the women have contempt for you. And the children of the single moms be raised to have contempt for you and see you as a mark and see you as a lick. Dr. Umar, no man is signing up for that, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise. They're not signing up for that. They're not signing up for all of this time and energy put in and no vagina. Right? And you, at the end, being told, your receipt is, well, you did what you were supposed to do. With contempt. With contempt leaking off of every letter of those words. Every syllable. Right? The return on investment. We're asking these men to be supermen and save the community and not even get a compliment. Do it because it's the right thing to do. Do it because it's going to save the future, and you won't see. Maybe your children won't see, but you're doing it because, all right, you know what? That makes sense. That is how people coming out of Reconstruction thought. Okay, black people coming out of, okay, understandable. But you will not get anything. You will, as a matter of fact, at least the brothers all through the silent and greatest generation and the oldest of boomers, they didn't have the contempt. The rest of the community didn't have the contempt for them. There wasn't a contempt for the fathers coming off of the factory floor. There wasn't a contempt for the soldiers coming back from World War I and World War II. There wasn't a contempt for them. Hidden behind critique. Let's be very clear. Contempt hidden behind critique. We're just critiquing you and it's your own good, but really we have contempt for you. Right? Even when Real Talk with Yanni was speaking and reviewing Bernard Rowley's video, and they got into the conversation about DV, and she went into the hypocrisy lane, and she said everything but in these exact words. Well, yeah, we don't break men, so we can strike you because we don't break you. When you hit, you break. And it's this very small sliver of conversation of women initiating maybe something negative. Once again, if the return on investment is that we won't even criticize women who are striking men first. And we know from the data that they're striking men first. So once again, this man is in a home with an abusive woman, and she's striking him first, and we're going to tell him, well, you're stronger than her, so keep your hands to yourself. Return on investment. Lose-lose situation. Now, black men, white men, Latino men, Asian men are more and more not signing up for that. They're not signing up, and this is where all of your, I would argue, more reasonable feminists are coming in and saying, we got to change the structure. If we're asking the women who want to be kick-ass, to go and slay those dragons in the workspace, to go be superwoman, we have to change the structure, or we have to socialize the women to be accepting of the men who are not going to earn as much as them, who don't have that type of drive in them, who quite frankly, all the power couple stuff is a joke. Someone has to be the one to stay home. Someone has to be the one to pick the kids up from school. Someone has to be the one to put their career on the back burner. Someone has to be that person. Both people can't be going hard 60 hours plus a week for their career. This is movie talk. Once again, return on investment. We're telling those men, especially outside of like an elite circle, we're telling those men, including in the black community, that we're going to laugh at you and chastise you for being a stay-at-home dad, or for being a dad who doesn't work as you work the part-time job doing 32 hours a week, or you do the stay-at-home job doing earning some less than $25,000 a hour, because you do the stay-at-home job, and your wife is the one that works where she works, slaying the dragons, earning some 6 figures a year. And her friends are gonna look like, ugh. And her family's gonna be like, ugh. And even her, maybe after a while, is gonna be like, ugh. Once again, return on investment. Everywhere we're going, especially, it's interesting hearing all these people use this market language, and yet the return on investment for men, nobody know what that means, right? And thank you, Oliver the Great, for the super sticker. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, right? All of a sudden, no one knows what it means when we start speaking about return on investment for men, for working class men. We're not speaking about the elite men. We're not speaking about the Giga Chads and the Tyrones, the chisel chin men, right? The over 6 feet men, the people that won the genetic lottery. We're not speaking about them, and we're not speaking about the people that have some insane talent that we pay millions of dollars to see them dunk a ball or tackle someone else or swim or run really fast. We're not speaking about those people, the super charismatic, the actors and the entertainers. We're not speaking about those people, or even the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elons of the world, the Bill Gates of the world, right? The Larry Pages of the world, the Google guys, right? We're not speaking about them. We're speaking about your everyday 9-to-5 men, the contempt our society has for them, the contempt the women have for them. And why would they invest so much time and energy building and maintaining, like Sarge Willie Pete says all the time, building and maintaining the physical infrastructure? Why would they invest so much? Die earlier than everyone else, right? Not make it to 75, 70 years old, barely 65. Why would they invest all of that to be out of here dead by 60, by 65, and they don't even get a pat on the back from the women. They don't even get they got contempt, right? That's what the world has for them, contempt. And we're telling those men to build and maintain. We're telling those men, particularly Dr. Umar, the Real Talk with Yannis, we're telling those men that we're going to have contempt for you, but do it anyway. You're not going to get the vagina. You're not going to get your preferred choice. Forget just getting random. You're not going to get your preferred choice. You're going to get the sloppy fourths, not seconds, not thirds, maybe not even fourths. You're going to get the sloppy fifth of Tyrone. You may get the girl you were drooling over in high school, or the type of women you were drooling over in high school and college. You may get her after Tyrone has had his way with her and maybe knocked her up with 1, 2, 3, 4 different kids. Then maybe. And you'll be the dude helping to raise those kids, and maybe she gives you one if you're lucky. Right? But we still want you to go out there and do the 9-to-5 job. And be a great saver. And have the discipline not to try to be flashy, not to try to buy the nicest things. Have the discipline to have the good credit. And do it just because. Because when the women need you, we need you to be there. We need you to have built up that discipline muscle. We need you to do all of that, and she's going to be grinding her teeth to dust that she has to end up with you. And for many of them that can barely subsist, they won't. They would rather diddle themselves or be in same-sex relationships or try to be the bust down for some non-black guy, preferably white guy, than end up with you. But you still got to maintain the black community as much as possible for when she wants to come and get some D and she can no longer be with the Tyrones because the Tyrones make her throw up. She used to be able to deal with the Tyrones, but now she thinks she's better, so now she's willing to deal with you. Notice I'm saying deal with you. Right? And we're telling these young men to maintain the physical infrastructure, to maintain the black community, to be those blue collar men that we have contempt for, to be those blue collar men that if you're not a physical specimen, we're not interested in. We're not asking, sorry, I'm using the wrong word. We are demanding them to be these people just because it's the right thing to do. Return on investment. Why should they? And then on the other hand, you have the super entrepreneurial types pretty much saying, yeah, well, that you're getting that treatment because you're not uber rich. You're not uber wealthy. You ain't trying to be part of this private sector. You ain't trying to start a business. You're not trying to be an entrepreneur. So yeah, you deserve that disrespect. You deserve to be insulted. You deserve to be belittled. You ain't trying to go work that 40 hours, learn a trade, put another 20 hours in some gig job, and try to be an entrepreneur all at the same time. Wait, you sleep? Wait, you actually sleep? And you think you deserve respect as a person that actually sleeps? Oh, you get 8 hours of sleep a day and you think you deserve respect? So on the other side are those guys. So everywhere, 9 to 5, everyday, regular men, 30,000, 35,000, up to about 70 to maybe 75,000, but really 70. Everywhere those men go, right? At best is indifference, and at worst is contempt. Men to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. Build and maintain anyway because it's the right thing to do. We can't guarantee you a wife and family, a nuclear wife and family. We can't guarantee you a woman without children from a previous relationship. We can't guarantee you just base respect in this society. We can't even guarantee you that if you want to stay in this position, and all you want is to be able to buy a home, raise your family, maybe send your kids to college, right? Buy 1 or 2 new cars in your lifetime, right? And get that gold watch or that gold pin at the end of your 30 years of work service, 35 years of work service. We can't even guarantee you that. We can't even guarantee you the gold watch at the end of this 35 years of work, 40 years of work. We can't even guarantee you that. The absolute base. Because what they're showing now is these young people are switching jobs every 3 to 5 years. So there is no gold watch at the end. Not at that pace. Then you have people saying, yeah, you should be out of there by 10 years anyway. So that's at least 3 to 4 different long-term jobs. Right? And Trell Bentley says, we can guarantee you an overweight woman with multiple kids by multiple men who won't respect you. Trell, I think we working on the place where they can't even guarantee that. Because that woman still thinks she's better than the $40,000 a year man. They can't even guarantee that. And Mr. Z comes from the school of there's no guarantees when you're an adult. And it's all a big gamble. And one of the first things you have to get over is being risk averse. I'm from that school. And even though as a millennial, I'm from the generation of risk averse people. And Mr. Z, even himself, is a bit risk averse when it comes to certain things. But I understand that it's all a big gamble. All of it. Everything from your investment in school, your investment in different careers, your investment in your job or your career, like I said, your investment in a relationship, intimate to platonic friendships, same-sex friendships, right? Heterosexual, homosexual, all of it is a gamble. All of it is a gamble. That date that you, like the Asian guy was saying on the men's panel on Vice, that date you spent $150 on, it was a gamble because she could ghost you. It's all a gamble. But to tell those men who are gambling, you're going to get snake eyes more often than not and be chastised for it. So you're going to go on that date and then she's going to ghost you. Then you're going to go to work and your boss is going to tell you how they're automating and they're going to let you go in a month. Then you're going to, like, you see what I'm saying? Then you're going to turn on YouTube and you're going to have Dr. Umar chastising you for being a brother in this kind of space, this kind of okay space. Let's say you barely touching 70 grand a year, and he's going to chastise you for not coming back to the black community and doing for the women and the children, the single mothers particularly. Then you're going to go to church and you're going to be chastised by your pastor for not trying to wife one of these single mothers who, once again, remember, have contempt for you anyway. You're not tall enough. You're not good looking enough. You're not charismatic enough. Then you're going to turn on YouTube again, and in your feed is Real Talk with Yanni telling you this is what you get for your ancestors wanting to integrate. Right? And you're going to tell the young men, 30 years old, 28 years old, 32 years old, to do anyway. Screw return on investment. Screw the fact that you're even willing to get a third of your investment, maybe even a quarter. You're okay with, because you know, hey, I know I'm black. I'm part of the Black American community. I know they can't possibly give me 100 on my 100. They can't even give me 50 on my 50. But I'll take a third. I'll take maybe even a quarter. And the black community is looking at you like, yeah, we don't even got a tenth for you, player. We don't even got a tenth for you. And some of the women are going to have contempt for you. And some of these women, children, are going to rob you. Yeah, we don't even got a tenth for you. Right? And Black Zillennial, I think that is, says, guys, just be better, Michelle Obama. You see? Huh. So nah, Trell, I don't think we even got the guarantee overweight woman with one or two kids from a different dude. We don't even got that for these dudes. Because we've raised those women that they're better than those men. So those women have been socialized that they're better. So when they come off the high of when they were younger, they got to date the aspiring rapper and the aspiring football player when they were nice and right and tight, and they got to date the they got to get piped down by the good looking white dude at the law office and the good looking black dude at the law office, and she got to come down off that high and date the regular smegular $45,000 a year, under 6 feet tall, regular looking brother. Yeah, she can't do it. So yeah, she may have two kids from two different men, and obviously she gained some weight over the years, and she's jaded as hell, but she still thinks she's better than you. And Dr. Umar is telling you to do anyway. To do anyway. Real Talk with Yanni is telling you to do anyway. Paris Milan is telling you to do anyway. Chrissy is telling you to do anyway. The dominant society is telling you to do anyway. Build anyway. Maintain anyway. While they challenge your concept of manhood, they tell you to be a man and do it anyway. The non-binary folks are telling you to do it anyway, even with no return on investment. Not a quarter, not a third, not half, definitely not 100 on your 100. Ryan James said, suffer anyway. And what are you suffering? The indignities. Both tangible and intangible. The indignities of being a $50,000 a year guy, $45,000 a year guy, and being called dusty by women on the internet who earn less than you, who have invested nothing in this society, who are barely you suffer the indignities of being disrespected in the McDonald's line by a woman that could be your daughter. You suffer the indignities of watching Kevin Samuels speak to a young lady that's 23 and says, Who wants to be with average anyway? You watch as you know that a brother like Kevin Samuels is in a better position in his life than you, and yet he who became YouTube famous in a matter of a few years, you watch as women go on and disrespect him, and you like, well, if they disrespecting him, well, goddamn. Those indignities, right? You watch that. That's how you suffer. What those lefties say, microaggressions, you all day, every day, right? So suffer anyway. Yeah, good one, Ryan James. Suffer anyway. They're telling you outright there is no return on investment. Do it because. And for the swirlers and divestors, we gonna tell you how you not as good as the non-black men on top of that. Do all of that so that we could still tell you, yeah, but the white men do it better. The white man's ice is colder. Well, you ain't build your own country. You ain't build Wakanda yet. You and other black men ain't build a society where I could freestyle and do what I want to do, how I want to do it, get pregnant from who I want to get pregnant from, and not suffer the consequences. That's why I'm really chastising you. Because I want to do what I want to do with whatever man I want to do it with, risk it all every time I have sex with these type of guys. And then I want you men who I don't find attractive, who I don't find appealing, to build a net to save me from the rain and the consequences anyway. By the way, that's an indignity too. Right? So the question, once again, Dr. Umar, is the return on investment. You, if you were to be believed, have been working on building this school and saving up the funds for a decade. For pretty much working on a decade. I think he said 8 years, working on a decade pretty much, right? You knew you weren't going to get the return on investment. At least you got the notoriety, Dr. Umar. In the future, there will be people that will be speaking about you and the work you did. At least you have that. At least you have the people, even the ones of us that vehemently disagree with you on stuff, be like, well, yeah, Umar was right about that. And he was right about this too. Right? And at least he tried to do this, and at least he said that on this interview, and at least he said that on that interview. You know, with the average 75, I said 75, sorry, I'm going way too far up. 70 to about $30,000 a year man he gets none of that. It's a running joke in the black manosphere. He don't even get to be the portrait in the living room anymore. Papa's portrait is somewhere in the basement. The grandkids don't even know who he is, and they don't hear good stories about him because their mothers raised them, particularly for the women, for the girls, to have contempt for the same type of man Papa was. So granddad, grandpa, Papa, He suffers indignity in death. The grandchildren don't even know all the great that he did, all the good that he did in death. They don't even know. So the granddaughter gets to go out and be a feminist and look down on and talk crap to the same type of man Paw was. As a matter of fact, she turns around and calls men like Paw monsters because all they did was come home and bring the paycheck and be mean, right? A-holes to grandma, right? Right. And D. Scott says, stand in it like a rock in lava. Excuse me. Stand in it like a rock in lava. And excuse me. Thank you, D. Scott, for the super chat. Exactly. Exactly. And that's actually a good analogy. Standing like a rock in lava, melting. Right? So even in death, your image and your likeness is being disrespected by your granddaughter. Right? And I want to say, what's that? Sumogan Brown says, great grandma passed these horror stories down the generations. Exactly. That's my point. So what ends up happening is that we and even some well-meaning men supposedly turn around and start regurgitating. This is where you get the destinies, right? And this is where you get sometimes the FD signifiers, where, yeah, we're asking you to be better because now that we make, and this is the women talking, now that we make our own money, you can't just come to the table with mediocre money and be unemotionally intelligent and be a monster and be this and be that. All the negative stereotypes they can muster. Right? All the negative stereotypes they can muster. That's how they speak about our grandfathers and our great grandfathers. They were these barely able to put words together brutes. And I've said this multiple times. The way we speak about our fathers and our grandfathers is that they were brutes. And all they had was their physical strength and their paycheck. And they took our little old moms, our little old grandmothers and great grandmothers, and our grandmothers and great grandmothers were horrified of our fathers and great grandfathers. Horrified. He would come in, kick the dog, beat up the kids, beat up the wife, if not threaten to. Where's my food? Sit down. Everybody would be horrified to say anything. These are the caricatures of our grandfathers and great grandfathers. They didn't even use words, they grunted. They speak of our fathers, our fathers too, but our grandfathers and great grandfathers like they were truly the cavemen, that the only reason they beat our grandmothers and our great grandmothers over the head with a club and drug her to the house. They kidnapped her and forced her to be their wife, and all they offered was a paycheck. Toya said magma mangles. Hashtag magma mangles. That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Right? Charles said Mr. Yeah, like Mr. Exactly. It, you know, and when that's your return on investment, that you will be ignored in life and treated at best indifferently and at worst with contempt, right? In life. And in death, you will be spoken about like you were this raving lunatic monster brute who your women could barely tolerate, and all you brought to the house, you didn't bring stability, emotion. Oh, remember that you don't have an emotional intelligence. You don't have any. All you came to the table with, according to Destiny, was a paycheck and all the toxic masculinity that they could muster. All just the worst imagination of men ever. And you want men to invest in this society, black men in particular, to invest in the black community, to invest in children that are not theirs, so that in 20, 30 years after you pass, your progeny, if you even get to have any, will be speaking about you like you were a monster. And that's if they even speak about you. That's the look at that cat. If they even speak about you, they will be speaking about you like you're a monster. And Dr. Umar and Chrissy and Paris Milan and you name them. Kim from For Harriet, Destiny, the US government, the black community, black supposed leaders are all saying, do it anyway. Do it anyway. When that woman tells you she's a single mom of two, don't run in the opposite direction. When a woman call you a dusty, don't run in the opposite direction. When that woman on that first date hits you with the, well, how much money do you make? What do you do for a living? What type of car do you drive? Oh, you only make that? You okay with that? Shout out to the brother Better You. You only make $70,000 a year at 27 years old? And you all right with that? Don't run in the opposite direction, right? Don't run in the opposite direction when we make fun of you for being the manager at Jiffy Lube or whatever, making some 50 something thousand or whatever a year. When we laugh at you, you're okay with that? Don't take that money and find the best home in whatever suburb away from black people. If you can, away from black people, right? Away from these black single mothers. Don't do that. When your neighborhood look like it's turning just a little too rough for your sake, don't take your family and run. When you meet the girl from high school that wouldn't have given you a chance, but it looked like she might bite, and you desperate enough to make her a wife, and y'all go on those first couple of dates and you see, oh, she still got contempt for guys like me. She's just hungry. This was a foodie call. Don't run. Huh. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Your return on investment, is zilch. Your return on investment is zilch. Do it anyway. Because, and in this environment, think about it also. The crunch down is happening. We already know about how inflation is kicking. We know all of that, right? We know how inflation is kicking. We know about how young people can't afford homes. New, like we know, $400,000+ new homes on average. $50,000 new cars, 35 or so mod, 33,000 for used cars on average. We understand that. Median income for men is some $40,000 to $45,000 a year. All of that. And we look at young men who are already, particularly for millennials and Gen Z, and yeah, I'm gonna do some complaining now, knowing their financial hurdle, the economic hurdle, and looking at them in the face at 39, 40, 38, 37, 36, 35, 30 years old, looking them in the face and say, do for the women through the struggle anyway. Those women that got contempt for you, those women that are all through these universities, colleges, taking these feminist classes and learning how to verbalize their contempt for you in a way that makes it seem like it's not contempt for you, being extra verbose and polysyllabic in the way they speak when it really is they got daddy issues or they mad about what type of man they can't get or keep. Do for those women through this precarity anyway. Eat that 20% feeling inflation. Eat the precarity. Make it out on the other side. And do for the women who have contempt for you anyway. Do for the real talks with Yanni without the money anyway. Do for the Chrissies who think you some colorist neo-Nazi anyway. Do for the Paris Milans without the YouTube money anyway. Or we could go even worse. Do for the Lexus Exodus neo-Nazi level divestors who don't have the money anyway. Because from my understanding, she was speaking like she was been making six figures for a while, I think before YouTube. So do for these chocolate dip white racist women without the money, but with the mindset, do for them anyway. Look out for because Mahogany Pink said she's somewhere in academia, right? Look out for her anyway. When she comes up for tenure, look out for her anyway, even though you know she got contempt for black men. When she go up for the PhD program, look out for her, put a good word in for her anyway, even though you know she got contempt for black men. Right? Ignore Kim from For Harriet's contempt for your everyday working class black man. When she start being condescending and talking down to you, and there's something you want to do way more than just use your words, let's put it that way. Look out for her, give her that discount on her car maintenance anyway. Not just do your job, go above and beyond because she a black woman. Right? All of these black women who have contempt for men just like you, under 6 feet tall, extra regular. See, The concept of men being insecure with their economic and financial position, and that's why they have these concepts. No, the women are insecure. And you want men to invest in these women who are insecure about his position. He's not insecure. He's a $45,000 a year man. If he's lucky, he'll get up to 55,000, maybe 60 in his life, maybe 65 if he's lucky. He knows it. He's okay with it. He's okay with buying cars secondhand. He's okay with living in the neighborhood he lives in. He's okay to sending his kids to a okay public school, as long as it's not F or D, right? Sending them to college or paying for his son who wants to go to technical, excuse me, y'all. Sending his son to a technical school because his son doesn't want to go to college. He's okay with that. It's the women who are not. And you want him to invest in that woman anyway. Invest in the black community anyway. And Charles says it's called F all that. And D Scott says hashtag alpha your way through it. Yeah, yeah. You have hordes of both male and female content creators just chastising black men incessantly. You have them mocking passport bros right now, pretending like they don't understand why passport bros exist. And you want these men to invest that time, that energy, definitely that money back in the black community for women and for men who have contempt for them, who mock them, who insult them, who belittle them, who berate them. Right? Oh, I got a super compliment. And Dr. Dunbar says, "Good morning, Mr. Z. I appreciate how you weave in financial side of all of this. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much, sir. Right? What is it? You're a gentleman and a scholar. I mean, like you really are a scholar, but you are a gentleman and a scholar. Right? But yeah, Dr. Dunbar, I have to put it into perspective what we're asking. Dr. Dunbar, at least you have the prestige of doctor. For those of us a little bit further down, we don't have that, and we're still being tasked, right, with upholding, and like Sergeant Willie Pete says all the time, upholding, maintaining the physical infrastructure. Because I know a black woman right now, when I was working for the Florida Democratic Party, her dad was one of the people that helped to build I-95 when it came down here. So literally, the physical infrastructure. When they were building I-95 in South Florida, her father was part of that team. And you imagine his granddaughter, who I also met, she was actually a couple years older than me. You imagine if that granddaughter had contempt for working class blue collar men, black men, and then turned around and was telling us, what have you built? Literally, her granddad helped to build I-95, and she would turn around and ask black men, what have y'all built? Right? Trell Bentley, brother, that, the, I almost have tears coming down my eyes because of how practical and just ingenious that simple statement you just made was. And Trell Bentley says, I want to convince my son to get a CDL this summer before he goes to college. Did y'all hear that? I want my son to go to college, but I want him to get his CDL first just in case. You know what's funny? My best friend, his older brother has a college degree, doubled back and went and got a CDL, and now he's making more money than he ever made. He has a college degree from a reputable university here in Florida, and his older brother has a CDL earning more money than he ever made. Right? Talk about return on investment. I have relatives, I have family members, I have in-laws all across the board, CDLs, driving around the country, earning more than me. And I'm on the north side of 50. And they earning a nice chunk more than I am. Right? So look at that. A father's practicality. You want to talk about return on investment. So when we have contempt, and I remember, Trell, what you told me about your financial situation. When we have contempt for men, we overlook men like Trell. And wherever his son lands in the future. And then you want those men, Trell and his son, to turn around and invest in the black community just because? Right? Invest in what? Y'all see how AL talk about his granddad? And then the generation of women under that? Like I said, you do all of this. And then your daughters, their gift to you is not getting married or staying married and having adversarial relationships with black men. That's how they show you appreciation. By regurgitating anti-black male rhetoric about black men. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. That's how they show you that's how they show you appreciation. By raising your daughters raise your granddaughters, and unbeknownst to you, your own wife is slipping in weirdo feminist anti-male talking points. And so now your granddaughter is speaking about you and men of your generation like y'all were monsters. Meanwhile, the seed money for her life comes from you. You're the one who put down on that first car for your daughter for her to even be able to go back and forth to college. For her to even meet her future husband, baby daddy, to even have your granddaughter. And now your granddaughter is talking crap about men like you. You're the one who fronted the money for when FAFSA didn't kick in because your daughter put in the forms too late. And you never actually got that money back, but okay. You did all of your fatherly duties. You did your grandfatherly duties, and your return on investment is a granddaughter that has contempt for men just like you. Right? So when we talk about return on investment, the time, the energy, the money, your lifespan, your health, and to have, once again, the dominant society, the government, the whole social sphere rain down nothing but criticism on you and then tell you to do it anyway, tell you to invest, excuse me, anyway. Excuse me, yo. I gotta get this cough out. Excuse me, yo. And Dr. Thunder's in here. Ooh, I got two doctors in here. Haha. I'm winning, winning. And Dr. Thunder says, return what? That's the point, Dr. Thunder. We already went over that black men are willing, black men know we're not going to get 100 on our 100, right? We're not even talking about positive where you get 120 on your 100. We're not even going to have that conversation. We know we're not going to get 100 on our 100, so match. We know we're not going to get 50 on a 100. I think black men are willing to even get a third on their 100. Some black men are even willing to get a quarter on their 100 when it comes to investing time, energy, money, resources, right? Just putting in a good word for your knucklehead nephew or, excuse me, even your relative's friend, a family member's friend. The problem is we're not even offering that quarter in the black community to black men. We're not even really offering a tenth. We said do it for the free, right? That's what we're saying. Do it for the free. I I am not of the school of thought of charging for everything. I somewhat agree with Obsidian, especially, kind of trolling people, trolling the women when it comes to like book a session. I think it's hysterical. I can't wait to see what he does with that today because I think that's going to be his stream for today. But I understand where he's coming from. I don't fully agree with it, but I definitely understand the sentiment, and that's why I don't fully disagree with it because I understand the sentiment. And shout out to Black Uru, who's also been a person who spoke about maybe if we start charging them for every little thing, they'll understand and appreciate every little thing. If you start putting a price tag on everything, oh, you want me to help you move that couch? There's a cost to that, right? You want me to be a little shade tree mechanic and change your brakes? There's a cost to that. You want me to change your tire because you don't have no man and you're stranded and you got the money to pay for somebody to come out and do it? There's a cost to that. You want me to change your bulb because you scared of heights and you don't even want to jump on this 2 feet ladder to change this bulb in the middle of your living room? There's a cost to that. You got a rat in your house. There's a cost to that. You got roaches. There's a cost. Some random lizard just ran in your house. I'm your neighbor. You usually would knock on my door. I'll be like, all right, I'll be there in a minute. Babe, I'll be back in a minute. Such and such, Miss Such and Such got a lizard in her kitchen. She need me to go kill it. There's a cost to that, right? And when we say cost, What about if black men just cut off the whole "I'ma pay you with vagina"? No, we said cost, we meant monetary cost. Shout out to D Scott. Black coin. Yeah, no, we said monetary cost. Exactly. We said monetary. What about if we start charging for every little thing? Because you don't appreciate us doing it for the free? The return on investment is horrible. You want a good word in for that promotion? There's a cost to that, right? You want me to just stand there, guard while your baby daddy come and get his stuff out your house? There's a cost to that. You know he don't have no form of protection, we'll say that, and I do, and you just want me to stand there just in case? There's a cost to that. First of all, there would have been a cost to that because that's my life on the line anyway. There's a cost to all of it. There's a cost to all of it. So this whole badgering of men for looking at the return on investment, the ROI, and saying, yeah, no. And that's what's going on. More and more men, I actually want to do a I actually want to do a video and y'all could look it up so y'all could excuse me. So y'all could see for yourselves and I might actually put it in the description for an upcoming video where we'll be speaking about transmaxing. Yeah, you heard right, transmaxing. Right? And I'll shout out the brother. Shout out to the brother Nameless Protagonist. He sent me the article. I read it and then I listened to some videos of it. And yeah, it's what you think it is. Supposedly heterosexual straight men who are so down on their luck with women. So they're, I'm sorry, y'all, for the cough. I don't know what's going on. I got a cough spell. I don't know what's going on right now. But they are so down on their luck with women that they have transitioned. And they speak about it very practically. They have completely shredded the whole body dysmorphia talk, the whole I was born this way talk. No, they have and it, hey, the bar keep on moving. And it's shredding some of your old school, it's going to be fascinating. I'm actually about to say this. Your old school trans that are like, I was born this way and I was born in the wrong body and blah, blah, blah. These dudes are like, no, I was a dude. I wasn't getting no attention. I wasn't getting no place. So I might as well not be a dude no more. Hive model, or no, not Hive model. I'm sorry. Mouse Utopia Project, anyone? Yep, Trell. The F. Yeah, yeah. Transmaxing. I'll put the links in a description for an upcoming video. Yeah, D Scott, you heard right. D Scott says Negro. What? Yeah, transmaxing, and I love it. Oh, the dark, cynical side of me loves it. You know why? Because they actually explain the dudes that are doing it explain it practically. That's why I love it. They're not saying I was born in the wrong body. They're saying, well, if I'm not winning this way, then I'll just switch the other way. And it's completely shredding all of the old concepts. And of course, it's not a lot of dudes. This is not, we're not talking about anything that registers in any percentage. This is like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, right? But the fact that they're actually saying it, once again, return on investment. They're saying this man thing, obviously this thing is not working. So let me try this woman thing. And so, from my understanding, they watch things to hypnotize themselves into having a more feminine outlook on life, and then it makes it easier for them to transition. And when the brother Nameless sent me that, I was like, and he knew to send it to me because I was like, I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, y'all hear Mr. Z talk, y'all hear, for those well-trained ears, the Charles of the world, y'all hear the black pill in Mr. Z. Yes, I have some blue pill in me, clearly. I have some red pill, but y'all hear the black pill. And this to me is some black. This is about as black pill as you could get because what they're saying, they're not, once again, they're not saying I was born in the wrong body. They have a very cut and dry, practical, well, I wasn't winning as a man, so let me try it as a woman. And that completely shreds so much LGBTQ talk, right? Better you, that's funnier than I think you intended. Better you says WTF, transmaxing sounds like a deception name. Decepticon name, sorry, Decepticon name. Decepticon. What you said is funnier than I think you appreciate. Right? I love it. I love it. Oh yeah, no. If men gotta shred their sacred cows, then everybody gotta shred their sacred cows. Oh no. Oh no. Women already feeling the pinch with all this trans talk. That's why they have derogatory terms. Excuse me, derogatory terms for traditional feminist women. They call them turfs, and I can't remember exactly the words for the letters, but they call them turfs, and it's a derogatory name that these kind of intersectional feminists, LGBTQ women give to like traditional feminists, like which are like women that still want nuclear families and whatnot. They have a feminist bit to them, but they don't consider trans women, right? So everybody gonna have, if all of this non-binary talk, we're gonna go after all of men's masculinity and concept of manhood, and we're gonna shred all of their sacred cows. Oh no, everybody gets their sacred cows shredded then. Fine. Everybody gets their sacred cows shredded, including trans, including heterosexual women, including even some of you lesbians, you bisexual, every, if straight heterosexual men, cisgender men got to get our sacred cow shredded, oh everybody's cow is going in the meat grinder. There we go. Thank you, Trell. Trell says TERF stands for trans exclusionary radical feminist. Thank you, Trell. And let me say that again. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. That is actually it. Something like that. I think it was something, yeah, something like that. It was something like that. So, once again, those young men, return on it. The theme of today is return on investment. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Um, those young men are telling you very clearly, my return on investment for manhood was horrible, so let me try it as a woman. In very practical terms. And I think it's fascinating. This is one of the reasons, I've been talking to my lady lately about going back to school, and this is one of the reasons I really like sociology is like yelling my name, right? And I know I ain't gonna make no real money, um, right? And it's like it's a battle between student loan debt and like this thing I have a passion for because this type of thing is absolutely fascinating to me. This is why y'all hear me. This is one of the reasons why I love the gender talk. I love this type of the economic talk and the finance talk and how it interacts with men and women and all. This thing is it is fascinating to hear people be so practical about such a huge big move as like transitioning from a man to a woman. That's it. That yeah, yeah. And if we're continuing with the theme on return on investment, what you have is men, and it was white guys from what I saw pretty much, but yeah, you have men saying, yeah, I invested 18, 20, 22 years or so in this man thing, in this male thing at least, right? And it wasn't I wasn't getting what I thought I should get, so yeah. Right. And I'm not saying that and this is inspired by Kareen, and Kareen says, I wonder if those men do the full transition if they only doing for return on investment. I don't know if they're thinking that practical, right? They're not using the term return on investment. That's the term I'm using because of the theme of today's video, but you know, but essentially that's what it is. I mean, if you're so practical and you're saying, I don't think I was born in the wrong body. I don't, and this is what these guys are saying, right? Y'all will see. I'll link all of this, the videos I watched, the article that I read, and everything. But if they're considering transitioning because of all of these different reasons, then and they're being very practical about it, and they're telling you, I don't think that I was born in the wrong body, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that really is the return. I clearly the man thing and me investing in being a man, it's not working. So I'm going to watch. Um, they call it. Damn, I don't want to say the word because I don't want to get flagged. But the derogatory word that starts with an S for gay, right? And porn, right? So S porn, and they watch a bunch of that type of content, and they start to slowly get their mind ready for transitioning. They literally hypnotize themselves, right? And Snuggles says, drop the link. Snuggles, I didn't actually use StreamYards because I maxed out on the thing, so that's why I had to go old school. So I'm gonna have to actually put in the money to. I'm just gonna put in the money. I was trying not to, but I'm gonna actually have to put in the money. And I might do that in the next week. I'm just gonna bite the bullet and just look at it as a bill. And pay for the 10 people StreamYards. So yeah, I'll just do that. Y'all will just have to bear with me for the next couple streams until I have the money. But the way my savings account is set up, but no, for real, I'm one of those people that when I put that money in the savings, I ain't touching it, right? So I have it, I just don't want to touch it. So that means it's gonna have to wait for the next pay period, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, so I didn't actually use. That's my long-winded way of saying I didn't actually use StreamYard, so I can't drop a link. Trell Bentley, I think that's the man. Alba should have never gave us that. Alba should have never gave us that because I think that is the funniest thing in the world, and it perfectly describes so much of what's going on right now. And for those of you that are listening in from work or whatever, Trell Bentley said, "It's a sickness." Oh, Alba should have never gave it that. It so perfectly encapsulates like everything, like almost everything, really. It really like yeah, right. And one of the videos I watched speaking about this said it like in an insane society, the most sane thing to do is be insane type thing, right? Yeah, it's and like I said, return on investment, people. right? And, you know, that's unfortunate. But, hey, actually, let me move and see. I might be able to catch my lady a couple of minutes before she walk out the door. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. But I might hit a dead zone. So if y'all don't hear me or if I'm going in and out, that's because I might be in a dead zone. So let's see. But you know, I just wanted to make this video because I was inspired by so much stuff that I've been listening to over the past couple of days. And you know, what was screaming at me is the return on investment. And like I said, y'all see me. I don't really that market language just it don't. I'm about to sound like some of our religious brothers and sisters. It don't sit right with my spirit, right? Like all of this market talk and this neoliberal talk, it don't sit right with my spirit. But if this is where we're going and if this is what we're doing, then so be it. If we are going to use this type of language and we're going to use these type of concepts without critiquing them and without really investigating how they're making us think and feel about the opposite sex, the same sex, your friendships, your intimate relationships, your platonic relationships, if we're going to use this market-based language and these market-based concepts, then fine, return on investment, right? And once again, like y'all hear me say, I'm not saying that it should be that way. I'm saying if it's going to be that way, if we're doing all of that, for what? For what? I just had an idea. I hope she's not listening. All right, y'all. So y'all gonna put me to the test. Y'all gonna ask me if I actually did this next stream. I'm gonna surprise her with lunch maybe, which means I'm gonna have to get up early for work and do a bunch of stuff way earlier than I would normally do it. But yeah, I'm gonna try to surprise, and it's a little out of the way later, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and I'm gonna try to surprise her. But that's too early. Actually, no. Ugh. I just might just surprise her with a visit because, yeah, actually it's a little too late because she goes to lunch earlier. So that's an X-nay on that, A. Huh. Yeah, I'll just probably bring her son a snack on or something like that. And there you go. See? You see? You see what happens when you have a man, even that's not a baller? Just random nice stuff, but you know, when you want men to, because the return on investment, right? Return on investment. Both tangible and intangible ways, my return on investment is pretty damn good. I'm doing pretty damn good in this relationship. Excuse me. Right? And as I said before, the contempt for working class men is how you get here. And until the Dr. Umars address that, because Real Talk with Yenny is never going to address that. As a matter of fact, for her, it's all about the baller dudes and like dudes with money and like pretty much she's not doing the math, or she doesn't understand how there's always going to be a middle. You can continue to move this thing up and up and up. One day, the median income for men is going to be 70 something thousand. One day it's going to be 100,000. And if women, well, let's see what the human species is at that point. But if women continue with the contempt for average, then that will always be an issue. So that's number one. But for her, it's for her, it's the top notch or nothing. So we can't expect a lot of these women, and same thing with Paris Milan. We can't expect them to see the light eventually. But the Dr. Umars, until they start speaking about the contempt the women have for average, there's no talk. There's nothing to speak about. Right? Snuggle says, don't you people consider that simping for a woman if you surprise them with lunch? Of course not. Of course not. Mr. Z has never been that person. I'm not the male version of the bitter angry women that say, I don't need no man, and you know, all a man could do for me is this, and all a man could do for me is that. I'm not the male version of that. Oh, she better do for me all the time. Ain't no loving. This is a business. Ain't no loving this. Numbers. All I see is ones and zeros. And if she ain't helping me with the ones and zeros, no, Mr. Z has never been that person. All the lovey-dovey, gushy stuff, I believe in that too. Is Mr. Z practical? Of course he is. But all the intangible, lovey-dovey stuff, yeah, Mr. Z believe in that too. Unlike some of these other content creators, the women, who talk about it, but they not really about it. Oh, Trell, that's a good one. Simp equal sponsorship without ROI. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let me say that again. Simp equals sponsorship without ROI. Without return on investment. Oh, beautiful. Exactly. And Charles says, J-Lock says they gotta earn it. And Charles says, simping is when you're doing something for a woman's acknowledgement and it's not truly from the heart. True indeed. And he says, it is for validation even when you see them doing something that's wrong, contrary. Yeah? Yep. Right? And you know, it's good that we're having this conversation, this part of the conversation. This shows that we don't hate women. We don't hate women. Look at Kareen came up. Look how we spoke to her. She a sister. We speak at her. We piling around. We joking. When I go on um, God damn, I'm getting tongue tied. When Kareen came on, right? Y'all saw the way that I joked around with Kareen. That she was just part of the conversation on my channel, right? And you see that often. You said I would whenever we have women on, whenever we're talking to women, we always get that. Y'all see me on Toya's channel. Y'all see me on the breakdown. There's no hate for women over here, right? And it's glad that I'm actually sorry. I'm glad that we're actually saying these things because, like I was saying earlier, for those of you that didn't catch it, the way men, particularly working class black men, are spoken about is that we are these brutes, particularly our grandfathers and fathers. They were these brutes that all they could contribute, and our grandmother's return on investment was a paycheck. Literally a pay. And if you were black, the paycheck wasn't even that nice. Black men's paycheck wasn't even that nice. And they were these monsters that barely could put words together. They grunted, right? There was always the threat of physical violence, and sometimes they were. And our mothers and our grandfathers or our fathers were deathly afraid of their fathers because it was this, barely literate, barely could communicate, barely civilized brute who everybody was afraid of. And the only reason anyone tolerated this person, our grandfathers and great grandfathers, is because of the paycheck. Right? And that's what the young men are tasked to Maintain a society and an environment, particularly in the black community, that sees you and your forefathers as big, dumb, inarticulate brutes. And nowadays, because women can earn their own money, you're big, dumb, inarticulate brutes who aren't even worth being around, because at best, all you can do is match the woman and her pay. If she's lucky, maybe you earn a bit more than her, but it doesn't make up for the fact that you're not emotionally intelligent, you can't communicate, um, you are physically threatening, physically imposing, which she kind of just turned on by, but let's not talk about that part, right? D. Scott? Uh, D. Scott says, D. Scott says, you better show up to her lunch. You better show up to her lunch with a purchase island next week. Step your game up, bro. Oh, let me go see how much that island that FTX is probably gonna have to give up cost. Oh, let me see how much Bahamian islands are going for. Maybe I think I might have a spare 10, 15 mil just laying around. Let me go buy one of these islands off of the Bahamas. Oh man. Really, that's how these people be talking though. Really, that's how they you let the swirlers and divestors tell it. That's what white men be giving white women, whole islands. Oh man, and Big Kev says, what's going on, Big Kev? D. Scott, fool. Big Kev said, that racist lie justifies their grand delusions. Yeah, yeah. Our grandfathers were big dumb brutes coming in like shout out to Obsidian, coming in like Mighty Joe Young, right? Opening the door so hard they almost break it off the hinges, kicking the dog, practically looking at our grandmothers and saying, bow to me, you will worship me. Like that's how they talk about it. It's a comical caricature of our of our forefathers. I'm not saying these men were angels. I'm not even going to do the white people thing. Oh, they were products of their time. That's what they say about slavery and Jim Crow. I'm not even going to go there with it. But to speak about these men the way, and the problem with some of us in the manosphere, and the black manosphere specifically, or the problem with men in general, is that we want to hold on to these old, archaic, patriarchal notions of masculinity, and this is what the concept of that masculinity is, right? And Charles says men aren't supposed to communicate in the same way as women. We don't babble on about our feelings. We are the people who are supposed to get things done. We deal with the facts over feelings. And Mr. Charles Faulkner Jr., that is the problem. You see communicating and being able to use your words, you know how we tell children, use your words. You see that as feminine, Mr. Charles. You, sir, are a patriarchal sexist monster, sir. Because you see using words. Damn, I wish I had my Charles would be flaming me right now, but he know I'm being funny. He know I'm being sarcastic. But you, sir, see using your words and speaking about something incessantly just to speak about it, right? You see that as feminine, sir. First of all, our non-binary folks would tell you there is no man, woman, masculine, feminine type thing going on, sir. Charles, that's good. Charles says, I am a sexist patriarchal monster. That is a hell of a compliment. That's good. But seriously, the way that your original comment would be framed is that you're saying that being able to communicate using particular words, being up to date on all of the musings going on in the universities and the way they speak and the way they communicate, saying that that is um feminine is a problem, right? Being up to date on every single word, the verbiage, the language coming off of these universities, that saying that that's feminine is sexist. Okay, right? So I yeah, and if we're continuing with the return on investment, I once again, I someone has to tell me, where do you chastise the customer and then expect them to still buy? Where do you insult the customer and expect them to still buy, unless that's part of the gimmick, unless that's part of it, right? Like you, those restaurants that, like, are around the country where the waiter is supposed to be like mean and rude. That's the whole catch, right? Be a little spicy, be a little insulting, and that's the whole catch. But unless you're going to one of those type of establishments, y'all tell me where people go to an establishment and being disrespected, insulted, belittled, that's what you're paying for, right? So that's what we're doing. We're telling these men there is no return on investment. As a matter of fact, we might charge you for your help, right? And we're telling these young men to eat that. That's why I made sure to make this video to say to Dr. Umar, particularly Dr. Umar, no, sir. With all due respect, no, sir. At least you're going down in the Black History books. At least your return on investment is going to be your notoriety, which is going to ring on. Dr. Umar is going to be known. He's going to be known not even for the foreseeable future. Dr. Umar is going to be known, right? Even if he don't build the school, he's going to be known. He's either going down in fame or infamy. Dr. Umar Johnson is going to be known. But for the rest of us, oh no. Right? Charles says, my masculinity is so toxic, one drop of blood will kill 3 bull elephants. And Charles says, but as much as sexist, patriarchal monster that I am, every woman deep down inside find that so attractive about me that I could tell them to shut up. I'm gonna get it done, or I'm gonna protect you. Yeah, and I think a lot of this also has to do with, and I think maybe I have to do more of a deep dive, on being risk averse, right? I did a video of it a couple weeks ago, of this concept, but I think that's, and Dr. Umar spoke of this. This is the one time that I agree with him, and Obsidian agreed with him when Obsidian was reviewing the video. They want the guarantee, and I think that's much of where we kind of deal with this issue, and actually why so many women find themselves, even when they do get serious and they're looking for a particular life with the man at a certain income, that already have all these markers of like perfect stability at the least. And that's not a thing. Not for the masses of people, the masses of men or the masses of women. Six-figure people just got fired or let go from Facebook, people. Six-figure people. These were people in their 20s and 30s mainly, making well into the six figures. 150 plus six figures. They just got let go. Those people just got let go. So let's say you a sister, you found yourself into the circle. You're dating or you're living with, okay, you're not married, you're dating or you're living with the tech bro that works for Facebook, right? He's earning 175 a year. He love your dirty draws. Y'all live in the Bay Area, so y'all still living a little, but y'all maintaining. You get to brag about the fact you got the white dude, and he earned six figures. Nice money. He just got let go from Facebook. Now, let's be clear. These people ain't going to be starving tomorrow. Well, let's be honest. I'm not going to be too hyperbolic with it. But you don't know what's going to pick him up next. And you don't know if he's going to make as much money. That was Facebook money. These small startups ain't paying that type of money out the gate. Now what? See, when it's always about the guaranteed surefire thing, that's why the vows say for richer or for poorer. That's why they say that. To make sure you understand you just can't be cutting and running once the slightest hint of any type of financial disturbance happens. Oh crap, he lost $1. I'm out the door. Big Kev says, and thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. Big Kev says they want black men to give them white women levels of materialism. Big Kev, I would argue they don't even want white women's level of materialism. They want elite, rich, and at the least upper middle class white women's level of materialism. Not just white women. We work with white women too. We know the average white woman, she aight. Maybe. She's aight. We know the average white woman ain't living that life. And more of them are being single moms too. The average white woman is Roseanne. I keep saying it. The average woman is living Roseanne's life. So they don't even want the average white woman's level of materialism. They want Real Housewives of Orange County white woman level of materialism. They want the mansion in Beverly Hills. Right? In Manhattan Beach over there on the West Coast, not the East Coast. Well, on the East Coast too. They want Manhattan life. They want Manhattan life from the West Coast and the East Coast. All right? Black Zillennial said M3 Beamer level. No, not even M3 Beamer level. That ain't rich enough. Roger said it a couple weeks ago. Shout out to the Roger Report. He said it a couple weeks ago. These women don't even want, they say six figures because they don't understand money. They want $1 million lifestyle. I said it once on Shay Sade's channel. Shout out to Shay. I said, when they get to six figures, trust me, they're going to want more. They're going to want $250,000. They say six figures. They want even richer than that. The life they're actually describing is usually some $300,000 to $400,000 to $500,000 lifestyle. Really. Thank you, Trell Bentley. Exactly. Trips to Ibiza, yacht excursions. Yes, that lifestyle. San Tropez lifestyle. the Louvre lifestyle, Prague lifestyle, Monaco lifestyle, the Alps lifestyle. That's what they're talking about. Right? Change the weather on the private jet lifestyle. For those of you that don't know that terminology, it's kind of the term these elites use where they're jet setting so much they're on the plane as the weather changes, right? Or they're because they're moving on the plane, they're changing the weather, or they're moving in between different weather patterns. That's the lifestyle we're talking about. Going from seeing the pyramids in Central America to seeing the pyramids in Egypt to going in India and seeing those pyramids to going to Sudan and seeing those pyramids to going to the Louvre and seeing that glass pyramid, right? It you know, when I say that, I'm being a teeny tiny bit hyperbolic, just a smidge. But in all honesty, yes. Like I said, what's the Beamer M3 cost? $70,000? 75? I think it's 69 last time I checked, but let's say it's 75 or something. No, they're not looking for Beamer M3 money. Oh no. At the at the least, if we're talking about when like if when Courtney Ryan puts a microphone in their face, when they're saying 300, 400, 500, $650,000 lifestyle, that's Lamborghini Huracan money at the least. That's Lamborghini Huracan money. That's S600 Maybach money, right? That's Tesla Model Plaid S or S Plaid money. That's not that's not Tesla Model 3 money. That's not even Tesla Model S money. No, the Tesla Model S Plaid, which for those of you that don't know, that's the 1,000+ horsepower one. Right? Black Zillennial said, I thought the M3 was something. Black Zillennial, it is. That's perfect. We're having car talk. I could really paint the picture. The M3 is. But the M3 isn't a Lamborghini. But the M3 will leave just about every car around you. But it's not the tippy top. The M3 is a sports sedan. The current M3 will leave even supercars from 5 and 10 years ago. Definitely 10+ years ago. The current BMW M3, especially with the all-wheel drive, if I'm not mistaken, they're like 500, a little over 500 horsepower, turbo. It will wrap a corner better than a supercar from a decade ago. But it's not at the very tippy top of hypercars and of supercars currently. So the analogy I'm making with this is, even though the M3 is an expensive car, that's an expensive car. 70 and 75,000, that's not cheap. That's an expensive car. It's practical, four door trunk, but it's not an SUV, it's not a crossover SUV, it's not a truck, right? If you really wanted practical, you would get a normal 330i, but you wanted the performance in the engine. You wanted the wider tires, the stickier tires, the better suspension, the huge brakes, but it's not at the tippy top. And if you're from where I'm from, South Florida, yeah, oh, that's nice, M3, keep it moving. right? And that, connecting the analogy for some of you, that's the point. That's why the women want a particular lifestyle. They don't want even a little bit above average. They don't want nice. They want extravagant and opulent because it's about their ego. It's about their insecurities. This is why Ostefko said, I want a gorgeous man. That's what it's about. And it's about showing off and defecating to all the cute women from high school and college. And grandma's favorite granddaughter. And all those men that overlooked me in high school and in college. That's why they want a particular man that offers them a particular lifestyle. It doesn't even have anything to do with the kids and the way the kids are going to be brought up and the upbringing and the no. They just want to brag about their kid going to that private school. That's some tens of thousands of dollars a year. Right? Better use is, if you don't have a McLaren, you driving a Pinto. It pretty much that, it's that extreme. And you know, this, I do believe this is not all women. This is not even most-ish women. I'm a little iffy on that one. But it's sizable. And I think our society and all of these people that create these video essays and these social commentators and critiquers, I'm looking at you, FD Signifier, I think they woefully underestimate. I know they look at us like a bunch of crazies, right? We spend too much time. The algorithm got us watching the same type of videos over and over again. I know that's what they think. Poor little Mr. Z and his subscribers and all of those Black Manosphere guys, y'all think women really want that. And I turn around and say, y'all think women don't. And not only do they not only do they want that, you think that they won't raise hell in high water because they don't get it. And once again, I'm not saying all, I'm I'm debating whether it's most, but it's still a sizable portion. I think y'all think we're talking, I think y'all think it's just a fraction of women. Just a, like, it barely breaks a couple of percent of women that are this delusional. And I'm saying no. And you're asking men to invest in a community and in the XX chromosome, that of which a significant portion of them have contempt for your working class blue collar men. FD Signifier even had to concede some of the point with his when he covered the divestors. Their very neoliberal assessment of men. That's my wording, by the way. Right? But what I'm saying is even the non-divestors. See, FD, I don't think you watched Kevin Samuels for real. You didn't. You may have watched a couple of videos and already had your super critiquing hat on. You didn't watch the videos we watched. Even before Kevin blew up, the other content creators who were speaking to women and interviewing women. All different type of women. They weren't controlling, oh, I'm gonna only control for these type of women. No. Right? You didn't watch as woman after woman, educated or not, kept on asking for the same six-figure man. That's one of the reasons why they were calling into Kevin, at least initially. But they were hoping that Kevin would give them the lucky ticket, the golden ticket, right? Shout out to Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. They thought they were gonna be Charlie running around talking about I got the golden ticket. Kevin gave me the secret to the six-figure high earner man. And what you saw over and over again was the contempt for working class men. And it's not just swirlers and divestors. We have not social. This is what BGS is saying. This is what Sergeant Willie Pete is saying. This is what I'm saying. This is what Obsidian is saying. We have not socialized the women, even fresh and fit, who y'all know I'm not a fan of them. All of these different people who spend much of their time agreeing to disagree. Maybe from the outside, y'all don't see the spectrum, but there's a spectrum. We don't always agree. The society has not socialized the women. You could do what, we're at the point where if you don't see what's going on, you could do whatever you want to do with the men. It's the women who are unhappy because y'all put them in the position to earn their own, and then they want men to earn more, to have more. If you don't see at this late date that this is the money and the status and the lifestyle, and all you did with putting women in the workforce was move the floor up, without moving the table up. So the floor, somehow we found a way for the legs to stay down and we moved the floor up. And now the floor is complaining that it's too close to the table. Chastising the table for not being higher. If y'all get the analogy I'm trying to paint right now. The women are complaining because what Themis said it when he was speaking to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson. He said it. They're not earning enough more. They don't make enough more. That's a gay black man. At least he presents gay, right? Saying it. They don't earn enough more. The gap isn't big enough. Chrissy spoke to that a couple of times too. The gap isn't big enough. Right? And that's what we're saying. The women are telling you that. And we're not talking about swirlers and divestors. Would you date a man who doesn't improve? Kevin, one of my favorite questions he asked, right? I'm going to butcher the question a little bit, but would you date a man who didn't improve your lifestyle significantly? No, 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 no. Woman after woman. No, 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 no. Okay then. Right? And you want black men to invest in what? Invest in what? Do it because of what? Do it because of why? For the women that have contempt for you? For the women that have contempt for you? So, you know, coming to a close, but yeah, that was the concept of return on an investment. I really wanted to stress it, you know, All these content creators, like I said, I listened to a bunch of content over the past few days, and whether it was Real Talk with Yanni, Chrissy had a live, I peeked in for a little bit. Um, you know, Dr. Umar Johnson, Obsidian, BGS, Sarge Willie Pete, right? And what we see is we're chastising the men, the passport bros, the SYSBM men, black men in the black manosphere in general. Excuse me, Dr. Umar still has an issue with Kevin Samuels, even in his death, because Kevin Samuels over focused on the money, or he was breaking down to women into numbers. Dr. Umar, the women were calling in, talking about men like they were nothing but a set of numbers, their height, their weight, how much they can lift, how much, definitely how much money they make. Y'all need to stop going in on Kevin like y'all didn't see what y'all saw when those women would speak. And asking men, black men in particular, to invest in a community full of women who have contempt for them. We're speaking about the working class men who had to suffer the indignities of watching women who were okay looking, who these men would date based off of their physical appearance. We're not even talking about the super bad ones, the okay looking sisters, but attractive enough that these men would date them, and depending on her personality, would consider marriage. And to watch women like that go on to Kevin and speak about nothing but elite men, and to tell those turn around and tell those men to invest back in a community where these men clearly saw woman after woman who has contempt for men like him, to invest in the community to benefit to benefit women like her anyway. That's just a stretch. I want to be very clear what I'm saying. We're asking men to do and to build and to maintain for the black community that at least half of the population who are women, a sizable number of that half of the population has contempt for these men. Once again, we're speaking about men who earn less than 70 grand a year, right? So we're not talking about the Henrys. We're not talking about the near six-figure guys. No, less than 70, and they're probably going to earn less than 70 for the rest of their life. And we're telling those men to build, maintain, do, and invest in the black community who has tons, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of black women who have contempt for men like him, who have so much contempt for men like him that they even speak ill of their grandfathers and great grandfathers. They have rewritten history to speak about their grandfathers and great grandfathers, let alone their fathers. I don't even bring up their fathers. But to speak about their great grandfathers and their fathers like these men barely could speak, barely could put words together, grunted, were cavemen with essentially bats, but these with branches, just beating up on women, children, just the worst people on the planet. And all the grandfather and great grandfather was whatever paycheck he brought to that house. He practically held his wife hostage with that paycheck. And we're asking young men, particularly middle-aged men, particularly to reinvest. And I'm not against the reinvest. I'm not even against, like I said, knowing that you're not going to get a one-to-one return on your investment. You're you'll be lucky to get a third of your investment, a quarter of your investment. But what men are not going to do is to invest in the black community for the free and then get contempt and a swift kick up the rear end as a payment. All right, fine, we'll get zero for our investment. The only people that will know of the great things we did for our community in whatever city or state we live in is our immediate family. They'll be the only ones to really applaud us, if even. Okay, fine. Fine. But to say you're going to invest in the same women and their daughters that you help to do for are going to turn around and speak about men like you with contempt. That's the bridge too far. You won't get a third of your investment. You won't get any vagina. You won't get any accolades. You won't get a pat on the back. You won't get even a quarter of your investment, not a tenth of your investment. Cool. All right. Black men grinding their teeth are like, all right, cool. I won't get no vagina. All right, cool. I won't get compliments. All right, cool. I won't get my name on a door somewhere. All right, cool. I won't even be put on the list of contributors. All right, you know what? All right, cool. I don't want the black community to stay the permanent underclass. Cool. I'll do it. I'll do it anyway. Oh, by the way, what will happen though is that not even in a generation, but now and a generation from now and 2 generations from now, those women and their daughters and granddaughters are going to be speaking about you like you're a monster. That's the bridge too far. That right there is the bridge too far. And there's no reason for me to belabor the point any longer. Thank y'all for listening. Like I said, Dr. Umar, Real Talk with Yanni, especially Real Talk with Yanni and Paris Milan. Y'all like using all this market-based language. Yeah, it sound nice. But when the men start doing the math on return on investment and they start using neoliberal market-based talk, and I want be clear, because Paris low-key brags on it all the time. She don't got no kids. She don't got no baby daddy. Cool. But a lot of your subscribers do. A lot of your subscribers do. And they're never going to end up with a mythical, magical white man. They never will. The best thing they can do is get under a black man, even a normal black man. But because they're listening to you and they listening to all these other content creators, they have contempt for the same men who could give them a lifeline and get them out of poverty, or at least buoy them. But those women are going to have to suffer because they listen to people like you. And that, sir and ma'am, is why the return on investment concept, if black men really took it to its full on extent, if anyone, honestly, to be honest, in the black community, we really got to do stuff selflessly. You got to be selfless in the black community. Because if you were only doing things for return on investment, and thank you, Charles, I'll come up. If you were only doing things for return on investment, you wouldn't do it. Men or women, you wouldn't do it. And I think we underestimate how much, if men were only doing things for return on investment in the black community, things wouldn't get done. Women's kids wouldn't get dropped to school when they have an emergency. Brakes wouldn't be changed on the cars. Batteries wouldn't be changed on cars. Cars wouldn't be jump started. Flat tires wouldn't be changed. Grass wouldn't be cut. Cars wouldn't be washed. I'm giving y'all the real tangible things that dudes do for free. School supplies wouldn't be purchased in the beginning of the school year. School uniforms wouldn't be purchased, or at least the money given. Cell phones wouldn't be paid. All of those things, from little to big. If black men only were focused on return on investment, do you know how much the black community would be hurting? How much black women would be hurting? All that y'all don't build. I just named a bunch of like that, and that's why what Black Uru says makes more sense. If we started charging y'all for all of these things, y'all would get it. Furniture wouldn't be moved, right? Tuition wouldn't be paid. If black men only did things for return on investment, kids wouldn't be taught how to ride bikes. As much as black women talk about their physical safety, oh boy, if men, whether black or not, other non-black men of color, if they didn't fear any type of repercussion at all for doing something to any random black woman ever, they knew there was no gamble. Well, she might have a brother or a dad or a friend that might do something. If they knew for certain every single time, do you understand how unsafe black women would be? We're unsafe now. Not nearly as unsafe as you would be if men, whether black or not, did not fear any type of reprisal. That's all return on investment. Yeah, thank you, Indigo Flow. Some kids wouldn't even know how to read. Let's be honest, ladies, some of y'all are that mean, that insufferable. Would you even have penis in your life? From Tyrone or any other man? Some of you are so out of shape and still mean that if Tyrone wasn't desperate, would would you even have that? If we really want to go into it, we really want to talk about return on investment. I could continue going down the list. All the emergency stuff. Everything small, from changing your wiper blades and battery to your tires to allowing you to waiting. Okay, you know what? I'll wait for you to pay me for the job I just did mowing your lawn. I'll wait for you to get paid in 2 weeks. I'll wait for you. I know the job for your car took a little bit longer, or excuse me, was more expensive than you thought. I'll wait 2 weeks for you to come up with the second part of the money. Or the guy on the other end that fronts you the second part of the money, so you don't even have to have that conversation with the mechanic. If men were really about return on investment, it would get really ugly for women in general, particularly black women now. Like right now. It would start getting that bad for them right now. Oh, it would be bad for you black men too. Yeah, yeah, okay. But we're not the ones complaining that y'all don't contribute anything. Y'all are losers. Y'all are brutes. We're not saying that. You were saying that. And then demanding that men do more and contribute more because you're jealous of upper middle class and rich white women. And let's be clear, that's what a lot of this has to do about. The light skinned woman, the racially ambiguous woman, and those damn white women. So I'll truly pause right there. Y'all like, share, subscribe. Um, and there's nothing else for me to say. The return on investment conversation, I think, needs to be had. Um, and with us knowing that you're going to have to be selfless. To a certain extent, especially in the black community, you're going to have to be selfless because we don't got the money like that. We don't. But if people would at least try to make up for the lack of money with a pat on the back, with a couple of compliments, with our equivalent of a gold watch or a gold pin, show some type of appreciation. Bring bring the lawn service guy a cup of lemonade or something. A bottle of cold water with a paper towel over it or something. Give that mechanic an extra $20 on top of it. Something. Right? But no, we give black men a swift kick in the rear end and said you should have did better than this anyway. This is all you could do? Huh. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. Right. Let me see if I give Charles a couple minutes because I should be sleeping right now. Right. Should be sleeping right now. But let me go run the Charles channel for a little bit because I know he's probably gonna try to be out of there before Raj starts his stream. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Um, yeah, this return on investment thing, y'all don't want black men really thinking like that. It ain't gonna look. It's gonna be ugly. It ain't gonna look pretty. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.